Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of CopaLoadofRacing. We're going to be looking at the St Leger tomorrow, the last classic, of course, of the season. There's also a pretty competitive 5.5 furlong sprint handicap there at the old Portland to get our teeth into as well. Musselburgh's on tomorrow. They've got a twilight fixture and I'll be looking at a couple of races there. Pick up in one race at Chester as well. It's got a bit of Scottish interest in it, and I'll also have a gander at its Irish Champions weekend at Leopardstown on Saturday, and then at the Curragh on Sunday. So we'll have a look at the card on Saturday. A few, shall we say, odds-on favourites running, but really classy racing at that. Now last week CopaLoadofRacing came from Musselburgh. I hope you could have joined us on Twitter. Managed to tip up a couple of winners there, and it was a good evening. Weather was set fair and there was plenty of decent racing on offer. Mark Johnson was in good form that night. Jim Goldie got a winner as well. Joe Fannin did really well, the jockey. So yeah, successful night there for Musselburgh. Big week ahead for Scottish racing, of course. We'll get on to that later. This time next week we'll be looking at the Ergo Cup, of course, and all the excitement that brings. But I'll speak about that later on in the vlog. But let's look at tomorrow's racing. We have, of course, the Portland handicap to start things off. There's not many races are run over a 5.5 furlong distance, but the Portland is one of those but one of those rare races that does. And as you can imagine, a bit of a headache handicap, as I usually say with these big sprint races. So I picked out two, which I think will run well. The first of those is Dakota Gold for Michael Dodds. Connor Beasley will take the ride tomorrow. This horse was runner-up in the Great St Wilfrid at Ripon last month. Ran really well there. Maybe things didn't go his way at Thirsk last time out. Really likes a strong pace to aim at, this Dakota Gold, which he got at Ripon. Didn't, as I say, get it as much at Thirsk, but he's a good price. He's still on a decent mark in terms of it's workable. And I also think he's a horse that seems to run really well at this time of year. If you look back in his form, a lot of his wins have came around about August, September time, and I think obviously he's one of these horses that maybe just likes the early autumn, late summer, and it just seems to suit him. You get horses that like the beginning of the season that you get on, back them in May, June. This horse seems to be the other end of the season. And yeah, I think he has a good chance. He's run about 8-1 at the moment. You might get him at a bigger price if you shop around. In terms of another one, a bigger price, Marley James for Ian Jardine is in the race. And he had a decent enough summer. He'd won a couple of races back to back at Haydock and Hamilton. They were, lower class races, either class 4 races. But he ran really well then. He's off a mark. He's going to be carrying 9.3 tomorrow, but jockey will take off £3 for that. So it's still a winnable mark for him. Conditions, I was thinking, earlier in the summer he ran really well on quicker ground, but when you look back, he won last year at Musselburgh on soft ground. He was an odds-on favourite that day, I think, and I think class showed more than anything else in that race, rather than him really just taking the conditions. But there is a bit of cut in the ground at Doncaster at the moment, and I don't think he'll mind that. But I think at a bigger price, he's also, he's ran well in defeat as well this season at the likes of in big meetings at Goodwood and York. So he's needing to step up in this race, but I think at a big price he could run well for your money. And Ian Jardine's in good form. He had, I know he definitely had a winner at Chester today. So yeah, I think that's got a chance at a bigger price, as I see. Now, looking at the St Leger itself, the big classic for this time of year, Latida is obviously all the rage in this race after that impressive victory at York during the Ebor meeting, winning that listed race. She won it, very impressively. She's had a bit of a off season at time. Obviously, was targeted for the Oaks after that victory at Newbury. That didn't work out. She's had some time off, but she came back, and as I say, if you've seen that race at York, you would agree it was very impressive. It obviously came off the back of the very impressive victory of Sea of Class, the William Haggis horse. So, you know, she has quality and abundance here. I think she's going to be very hard to beat on that form. But I always like to have a nibble, an each way horse in this race. Two, there's Raymond Tusk, who obviously ran really well at Hamilton and won the Glasgow Stakes for Richard Hannon, a race that he's targeted previously, and won that pretty comfortably. Then ran in the Geoffrey Freer at Newbury and finished behind Hamada. Now Hamada's a very impressive horse. I'm a little bit worried about Raymond Tusk, about 3 furlongs out in that race, but stuck on really well. Didn't get the most, seemed to get checked maybe just over a furlong out, but still ran on. Was never going to catch Hamada, and even if it had, I'm not saying it would have won the race, but it stuck on well to finish second in the Geoffrey Freer, and I think goes into this race with a decent chance. Andriette Zeni's back on board after he's won this on this horse twice. So I think the step up and trip will suit Raymond Tusk without a doubt. The other one is obviously Aidan O'Brien's very well represented here. Kew Gardens is obviously one of the horses that he'll have high hopes for. There's also Southern France, which I was interested in greatly, I have to say. Nelson's in there as well, and he's also got Zabriskie, which is a big outsider. But I like the Pentagon. Now, I showed decent form as a 2-year-old, as you can imagine, but I thought ran reasonably well in the Irish Derby. Then came back and ran in the Great Voltager at York behind Old Persian, who won that race. Wasn't given the most toughest of runs, I have to say, in that race. Wasn't knocked about or anything. So I think he comes in with this with a fair chance. He'll appreciate the step up and trip. It's by Galileo, as you can imagine, but that signifies obviously that there's stamina there, and I could see that running a pretty mighty race at a bigger price. Run about 33s in some places. Raymond Tusk's run about 22 to 1. Smaller price, 20s, 22 to 1. The Pentagon, best price the 33s that I seen this morning, but others are trading at 25s, as low as that. But yeah, I think some will look at that. I think come tomorrow and we'll be looking at Latida, which is roughly around about 15 to 8 just now, and they'll be maybe looking to take that on. Kew Gardens is around about 94 just now. Old Persian, who won that Great Voltager, is a bigger price at 7 and 8, and that will take some fancies because it has won at Royal Ascot, and then it's obviously followed that up by winning at York. So some will look at that at a bigger price, but Latida was really impressive, it has to be said. But hey, this is a Group 1 race, and some of these other horses in this have been performing at that level, and have shown, Group 1, Group 2 races. So Latida, this is its big test. I think she'll see it out and win it, but I think Raymond Tusk and Pentagon should give you a good run for your money if you're wanting some each way money there. Right, let's quickly move over to Chester. One race there I'm going to look at is the 32 Red Stand Cup Stakes. It's off at 240. Sir Chauvelin runs in this for Jim Goldie, having really stepped up in class in the Lonsdale Cup at York. Didn't disgrace himself by any means. This is much more his level, without a doubt. You know what I mean? Taking on Stradivarius is a big thing, but running in Group 2 level was maybe is a step too far. But hey, Jim couldn't get the horse into the Ebor, so you know he wanted to run it. It was so you know it was worth a shot. It could have, you know, if it finished second, third, could have got much more prize money as well. But anyway, he's comes down into this race. It's a smaller field, obviously a completely different track at Chester. Ran at Chester, I think. Did it run in the? Was it last season? It ran in the Chester Cup and just really never got a run. Stuck out the back, just everywhere it tried to go, just couldn't get a run. This is a much smaller field here. Slight concern, it's soft ground at the moment at Chester, and I do think Sir Chauvelin likes a bit of decent ground. Has won, let's not forget it, this horse has been campaigned over hurdles as well, and has won in testing conditions and that, but you're taking on quicker horses here on the flat. One that might do, and if they take, is Shailene. Now that finished behind Raymond Tusk in the Glasgow Stakes at Hamilton, and I just think that this horse looks like it would appreciate this step up and trip to a mile and a half. That whereas the mile and a half, I'm not saying it'll be too sharp for Sir Chauvelin, but I think for Shailene, this extra furlong that I've seen at Hamilton will appreciate it. So if I was to go anyway, I'll go maybe with Shailene in that Stand Cup at Chester. Right, as I say, racing at Musselburgh tomorrow, that twilight fixture, which is quite good. I've been to it a couple of years ago and it's well worth a visit. It's bizarre, you know. I was looking at Harriet Graham's tweet today and she was saying that they are calling the ground at the moment good to firm over at Musselburgh. Last night there was racing at Hamilton and it was soft, good to soft in places. Probably after the rain that we've had here in the west of Scotland today and last night, I would say it'll be soft now. And air, Graham Anderson had said, you know, they are expecting about 12 millimetres tonight, I think, or tomorrow night. And you know, they were good, but they've not been racing at air since August, obviously. So it just shows you the difference just from west to east at this stage. I think Musselburgh obviously can dry out quicker. It's the flatter track, whereas Hamilton, I think, out of all the Scottish courses, is the one that suffers the most when it rains, just down to the nature of the course. But anyway, they are at the moment good to firm in places at Musselburgh. Remarkable, if you ask me. But anyway, that's the way it is. It's kind of different ground at Musselburgh. It doesn't, even in the winter, it tends not to get a lot of frost. Although I was there one day when it was abandoned, but due to frost over on the far side, it just wouldn't thaw out because of the trees over on the far side. But anyway, that's not to worry about stuff like that at the moment. Looking at the big race of the day, it's the Caledonian Cup at 5:15. This over a mile, just shy of a mile, and just shy of the St Leger distance, in fact. Now, one horse that I'll pick out is Mark Johnson's Linwood Gold. Currently around about 5-1, I think. This horse, Joe Fannin, will be on board. Ran a decent enough race at Chelmsford last time out, about 3 weeks ago. Maybe wasn't the best positioned in that race that day. But he has won at Musselburgh. Won at Musselburgh last October, this horse. So seems to suit the track, and I just think it's there's 8 runners here in this you know, Richard Fahey, Michael Bell sending up a horse in this race. Arthur Mon. Keith Dalglish has one. Mark Johnson also has Lucky Deal in this race as well, as Linwood Gold. But I think Linwood Gold could run a decent enough race. As I say, it might be suited being back at Musselburgh where it has won before, so worth looking out for. The last race I'll look at Musselburgh is actually the Lucky Last, the 655. It's a Class 6. Don't really look at a lot of Class 6s on a Saturday card over the 5 furlongs, the Flying 5 at Musselburgh. But I think this race is worth looking at, considering these two horses. I've seen them last week at Musselburgh, and the two of them are at the head of the market at the moment. Kinloch Pride for Noel Wilson over from Ireland, and Jeffrey Harris for Jim Goldie. Now Jeffrey Harris was a big price, around about 25 to 1 in the Lucky Last at Musselburgh last Friday night, and just get beat by Our Place and Louis. I have to say, you know, Our Place and Louis just held on at the line. Jeffrey Harris was coming right at the line, and so you would think, right, if that improves, same type of race, then he's got a hell of a chance. In the other race, Kinloch Pride ran against Primo's Comet, the Jim Goldie horse that won, that tipped up on the vlog last week. Now, this horse has won at Musselburgh previously, won but at Catterick not long back. But in that race in Musselburgh, Primo's Comet, you know, he was bang there with a chance with 2 furlongs out, just couldn't get any room. And you know, as I say, just didn't get a clear enough run. So if all things drop right, which is not always the case at Musselburgh over the 5, you know, we've got how many runners in this race? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you know, 12 runners at Musselburgh still takes up a lot of room at that track. They all, as I said last week, they all pile into the left hand side and on the rail, and it can be your luck. So you know, Jeffrey Harris is drawn 2 and Kinloch Pride's drawn 4. There you go. So who am I going to go for? I've been to and fro. I've been looking at this race all afternoon, to be honest. 1 minute I'm going with Jeffrey Harris, next minute I'm going with Kinloch Pride. But I think Kinloch Pride might just but I just think it's a better horse at this stage, and I think Kinloch Pride. Anyway, we'll see. We shall see. So a good day at Musselburgh. I think there's still, there should be still tickets on the gate for racing there tomorrow. Get along if you can. It should be a good day out there. They'll also have great Musselburgh. I'd seen that last Friday as well. Every other race at every other track is covered on the big screen. So you'll be able to see this at Ledger. You'll be able to see all the Doncaster, Chester action. They'll even get over there to Leopardstown and take in the coverage there. Superb that Musselburgh do that. They make sure that they cover all the race courses. Right, let's look at over at Ireland for their Irish Champions weekend. Massive race in there. Leopardstown's tomorrow, and then the Curragh, of course, on Sunday. Right, Alpha Centauri is running in the Matron. Stick on to win as far as I'm concerned, and that's why the market suggests that. Just sit back and enjoy a fantastic horse. That's all I'll say on that one. And it's the same with the last. Roaring Lion runs in the Irish Champion. And again, his odds on, touching odds on this horse after how well it run last time out. Again, if there was one, I think Adieb for William Haggis. It's not been seen since the Lock-Inch, and I think this step up and trip might suit it. It should be fresh, should be fit, and at a price that might run well behind Roaring Lion. One that I will pick out is in the 6 o'clock, the Boomerang, Kenya for Aidan O'Brien, and this horse bolted up in a handicap at the Curragh last time up, and I just think it's just showing real improvement, this horse, and I think that could run well at a decent. I think it's not I think it's running about 41 just now, but I think out of all the ones that are a decent price, that it looks like a horse that could run really well tomorrow, then Kenya in the 6 o'clock in the Boomerang. Right, as I said, that wraps up all the action for tomorrow. I need a breather, to be honest, after all that. I'll have a wee sip of the old beer in a minute. But it is massive week ahead, of course, in Scottish racing. I'm just going to double check something. I just want to make sure that there is racing that day. And because, of course, we've got the start of the Gold Cup, the Western meeting we like to call it. But of course, they advertise it very strongly as the Ayr Gold Cup meeting. Now on the Wednesday, I'm sure that the Wednesday there's always racing at Kelso, isn't there? The day before anyway, I'm sure that they're racing at Kelso. Then of course we get started with Ayr. Doonside Cup Day, of course, on the Thursday, and then we've got Ladies' Day on the Friday, and then of course the big day on the Saturday, Ayr Gold Cup Day, of course. It's going to be cracking. Then on Sunday it's Hamilton. I'll be there for Hamilton on the Sunday, and then on the Monday another meeting at Hamilton on what is it works out this year that it's the public holiday weekend for both Glasgow and Ayrshire. They seem to match together this year, which is great for those that love racing. Need to have deep pockets, I say that. But yeah, great action. Now what I'm planning to do is do a vlog on Wednesday night looking at the first 2 days at Ayr, and then on Friday night we'll do another vlog looking at both the action at Ayr on Saturday and all the other meetings. Let's pick out some other meetings because Newbury is also on in the Saturday, and then we'll look at the Sunday meeting at Hamilton. So it's going to be exciting. Now what the weather's going to be like, it's kind of up in the air at the moment, if you excuse the pun. Ayr, there's looking at the weather forecast and looking at how much, speaking to the two clerks of the courses at Ayr and Hamilton, they're expecting showers. There might be some prolonged rain. I don't know if it's Tuesday's forecast. There's meant to be a storm that's going to be brushing. You know, it's they've not got the forecast right yet as to what part of the UK is going to get it worse. But hopefully we dodge a bullet there, and we don't get any issues. If it's heavy ground, it's heavy ground. But I think planning ahead, there's going to be cutting the ground anyway at both tracks next week. So that's what I'm working to. So as I say, Wednesday night, I'll try and get a vlog done Wednesday night. I should be able to. And then we'll look to obviously get more info to you on the Friday night vlog as per usual. But anyway, that's all to come on CopaLoadofRacing. If you're off to Musselburgh tomorrow, have a good one, and I hope you back some winners. If not, if you're sitting back enjoying the telly and the racing, then do so, and CopaLoadofRacing. See you next week.